The world is a terrifying place, with terrifying people and terrifying places. But sometimes there's little slivers of good in this world. These slivers can be different things for different people. Maybe that sliver is a book, or football, or Minecraft. Everybody has different slivers, and mine is, in my opinion, the greatest creation in all of television history: Adventure Time. I recently finished watching every single episode of this holy show, and I felt that I needed to express my love for this show, so I decided to make this video. Adventure Time is a Cartoon Network show created by Pendleton Ward. It's about a boy named Finn Mertens and his brother Jake the dog. They live in this iconic treehouse and love to go on adventures and explore this post-apocalyptic version of Earth, now known as the Land of Oo. Around 1,000 years after a vague nuclear war, known as the Great Mushroom War, the Land of Oo is filled with wacky candy people, lumpy people, slimy people, fiery people, wizard people, party bears, ghost people, demon people, robot people, and many more. Despite the extreme doses of lore that this world contains, the show is nothing without characters.
What am I to you? Am I a joke, your knight or your brother? What am I to you? Do you look down on me cause I'm younger?
Adventure Time is a show about characters. That's a fact. When writing the show, they really wanted to take advantage of the fact that this is a show, and that means they have a lot of time to spend developing characters. And holy shit, they do just that. Finn Mertens starts the show as a simple-minded 12-year-old who pretty much only knows good and evil. He's energetic and determined, but doesn't really understand how the world works. But throughout the show, instead of keeping him the same age like other shows do for their characters, which isn't necessarily a bad thing for characters like Bart, but wouldn't fit well with Adventure Time, the writers keep the same voice actor and allow his voice to go through puberty during the show.
Finn!
Bounce house!
But not only his voice changes, Finn starts to have feelings for girls like Princess Bubblegum, Flame Princess, and Huntress Wizard, which is the plot of many episodes.
Now you like me?
Finn, what are you talking about?
What am I talking about? PB, I was in love with you, okay? And you didn't love me back.
Finn also gains new emotional problems while his body changes as he beats up bad guys in dungeons and arenas, including, like mentioned before, crushes and breakups.
I need some time alone.
Princess, I said I was sorry.
You blow it.
Daddy issues and existentialism, which is bound to happen considering he's the only known human left on Oo. By the end of the show, Finn is a confident 17-year-old that's trying to find other ways to resolve problems besides violence, and is also trying to prove himself as a young adult and find his place in the world. Jake is a middle-aged dog that has the power to stretch into almost anything. He likes to eat, cook, and play the violin. He's dating Lady Unicorn and then eventually becomes an extremely nervous father. You can see him slowly realize that he can't keep adventuring with Finn forever, because he's getting old and more tired. But he also loves his brother and would do anything for him, just like Finn would do for him. The two of them, despite having all these problems, still beatbox in the morning, play video games, and make fart jokes like the two brothers they are.
Get him! Jake! I thought it would be funny!
Princess Bubblegum is a hard-working scientist that loves to have fun every now and then, but usually can't because she has an entire kingdom to babysit and develop. She has a secret relationship with Marceline the Vampire Queen that's subtly hinted at, but is usually creating problems for Finn and Jake to solve. Marceline is a punk vampire teenager that plays the bass and sings a lot. Just like Finn, Marceline also has daddy issues, but her dad is the Lord of the Nightosphere. When creating the character, I'm pretty sure they wanted Marceline to just be some side character that would pop up every now and then and create some plots, but they ended up developing her so much that she has this extremely emotional past and very heartwarming relationships with characters like Ice King. The Ice King is one of the best ways to describe the words character development. At the beginning of the show, he's just some lonely idiot that kidnaps princesses for company and then gets beat up by Finn and Jake. Somewhere in the show, the writers decided to give Ice King an extremely important and unfortunate past. BMO is a living video game console that has a quirky and innocent personality and barely understands the world, but still loves all beautiful things in it. He lives with Finn and Jake in their treehouse and, like most characters, ends up having an interesting past, but it's nothing that important. There are so many more characters that have unique personalities in Adventure Time, but unless I want this video to be 5 years long, I'll have to skip the rest. But just know that what I've said is just a fraction of what there is to say about the characters, and a fraction of the characters that there actually are. There are two story formations that a show can have, serialized or episodic. Serialized means that it shows one long story take place over all the episodes, like Stranger Things or WandaVision, while episodic means the show's episodes begin and end the exact same way so that the next episode can have a different plot that doesn't affect any future episodes, like The Simpsons or Family Guy. Some shows are both, like Rick and Morty or Gravity Falls. Adventure Time is also both serialized and episodic. Most episodes have their own plot, but the characters remember previous episodes, and sometimes the plot of one episode will affect future episodes. The main storylines are kind of split into different stories. There's the Lich ones, the Gunter ones, the Elemental ones, the Simon/Betty/The Crown ones, the King of Ooh ones, the Princess Bubblegum/Gumbald ones, and the War for the Candy Kingdom ones. There might have been more, but those are the ones that I remember. Keep in mind that there are 274 episodes of Adventure Time, so it's hard to remember all of them. Another great part of Adventure Time's writing is how the writers somehow managed to make the show grow up in a certain way along with its audience. I would explain it myself, but I found a YouTube video that explains it much better. The link to the full video is in the description.
But there's one last thing that Adventure Time has done that I believe truly separates it from anything else that's really been done before. And that thing is how Adventure Time grew up alongside me as a person. Over the decade that it's run, it has matured and transformed from a silly, adventure-having, lol-so-random 12-year-old to a surprisingly serious, philosophically interested, but still ultimately gold-hearted 22-year-old. And it's important for you to understand how this ties right back into Adventure Time's volume of philosophy, too. Each big punch of the show, along with several other mid-season punches, comes at a time at which I was really able to be impacted by it. And even alongside the philosophy, I was just old enough to be having girl troubles while Finn and Flame Princess were happening by season 4 and 5.
While I'm using other people's videos, if you want to know everything important that happens in the Adventure Time universe in chronological order, here's another video in the description that sums it all up.
Come along with me, and the butterflies and bees.
While watching the show, the sad thought that I would eventually run out of Adventure Time to watch was lurking in the back of my mind. When I finally got to the last episode, I tried to enjoy and love every single second of it, but I couldn't. The final episode was the worst episode in the entire show. Is what a dead guy said. He's dead because I killed him. The final episode, Come Along With Me, is the best fucking episode of Adventure Time. It's like a huge ass buffet, showing off all the characters that you've known and loved for all the years that you've been watching Adventure Time. I was genuinely terrified for the characters in the last episode because I'd grown so attached to them. I quite literally care about them. Almost every important side character makes an appearance and or affects the story somehow, which is a lot, by the way. Now, I don't consider myself an emotional person. I didn't cry during Titanic or Up or even the end of Endgame. But when BMO went up to Jake and started singing to him his beautiful song to help Jake from feeling so incredibly small in this horrifying situation, not gonna say what it is just in case you want to watch it, and then it slowly turned into almost all of the best and most meaningful characters collectively harmonizing this heartwarming song, I couldn't help but begin to cry. Then at the end, when the musical started to sing the main outro song that plays every time at the end of every single episode, while showing all the characters I know and love continue to live their lives and go on more crazy adventures, I couldn't help myself but burst into tears. Adventure Time truly did the impossible, created something fictional that I genuinely cared about and never wanted to end.
We can wander through the forest and do so as we please, living so merrily.
Oh, you thought that was the end of the video? No, of course not. I still have a lot more to say about Adventure Time. And there's still 2 other episodes to talk about. On June 25th, 2020, the first episode of a new show that's based in the Adventure Time universe, which is called Distant Lands, aired on HBO Max, I think. And I had no idea about any of this until around late 2020. I did some research and found out that since I live in Canada, I can't access HBO Max and couldn't watch Distant Lands Episode 1 BMO. But on April 9th, 2021, I found an illegal website and watched it on there. I also found a legal way to watch Episode 2 of this fairly new show, which aired on November 19th, 2020. When I began watching the hour-long episode of this new show, I had no idea what to expect. I was hoping they didn't fuck up this masterpiece of a show to make some more money. And they didn't. It was actually pretty good. It's about a space adventure that BMO goes on. That's it. There are characters introduced and stuff, but the premise is that it's about BMO being cute and heroic. The story was a bit weak and I didn't find myself caring about any characters besides BMO, but it was still an enjoyable experience and I recommend watching it even if you aren't a huge Adventure Time fan. The link to illegally watch it is in the description.
I don't wanna sound all sweet and sappy, but all I wanna do is make you happy, you know. Yeah, all I really wanna do is spend all of eternity with you.
I'm writing this right after watching Obsidian, so it's pretty fresh in my mind. Despite the fact that the episode is only 46 minutes long, and the story being kind of bland, I was impressed with the different style that they took with Obsidian compared with BMO. The colors and lighting was reliably astonishing, and it was awesome seeing the relationship between Princess Bubblegum and Marceline. I always wanted to know more about their relationship before the show, and after they kiss in the final episode of the primary show. I was expecting a lot more unbelievably amazing music from Marceline, but was kind of disappointed with one rock song, a song sung by a side character that I couldn't care less about and had a terrible voice, and a sappy love song that was the best out of the 3. They also changed the character design of Princess Bubblegum and Marceline a tiny bit. Nothing any normal person would notice, but as a hardcore Adventure Time fan, it got on my nerves quite a bit. But enough with the flaws. I want to talk about what made this good. Like I said before, they took a different path from the BMO episode by making it less about story and more about what the fans wanted, to see what Marcy and PB were like together. I mean, they're pretty much complete opposites, but I guess opposites attract. Us fans were also dying to know what everything was like after the final episode, and it also gave us a lot of information on that. I'm not going to give too much away, because I don't want to spoil it for anyone that wants to watch Obsidian, but there's a lot more info given on Marcy's past and how she grew up after the Great Mushroom War. This episode was definitely a form of fan service, and I hope everyone appreciates this gem of a 46-minute episode. Now, do I think that Distant Lands so far is better than the actual Adventure Time show? Well, actually, no. No, not even close. But it is still very impressive, and I'm excited for the next 2 episodes to come out.
Time is an illusion that helps things make sense. So we are always living in the present tense. It seems unforgiving when a good thing ends. But you and I will always be back then.
I want to spend the rest of the video to thank everyone that was a part of Adventure Time, including the fans. I doubt that there will ever be such a meaningful and perfect show to compare to this. In sad and depressing times like these, it's amazing to have a way to escape to another world with all these well-written characters and this beautiful world that you've created. And thank you for genuinely changing who I am as a person for the better. I've put a lot of thought into this channel and I've decided that I'm comfortable with this video being the last one on my channel.
You and I will always be back then. You better hush up while my baby boy is sleeping.
Keep singing!
Okay. Will happen, happening, happened. Will happen, happening, happened. And will happen again and again. 'Cause you and I will always be back then. If there was some amazing force outside of time to take us back to where we were. And hang each moment up like pictures on the wall. Inside a million tiny frames so that we could see it all. It would look like will happen, happening, happened. Will happen, happening, happened. There we are again and again. 'Cause you and I will always be back then. You and I will always be back then. Will happen, happening, happened. Will happen, happening, happened. There we are again and again. 'Cause you and I will always be back then. 'Cause you and I will always be back then. You and I will always be back then. And so, you and I will always be best friends.
The world is a beautiful place, with beautiful people and beautiful places. The world's beauty is made up of little slivers of good. Everyone has different slivers, and mine is, in my opinion, the greatest creation in all of television history. Adventure Time. Yeah, this is my last video. There's some people I'd like to thank for supporting this channel for as long as it's gone on for. And
Baking pancakes, making bacon pancakes.
hello? Wait, now? Like right now? Okay, okay, I'll be there right, yeah, I'll be there in a sec, yeah.